Bye. Have a great time.
ADR, this is King Black. Man, this world makes my brain hurt. What I mean is, everybody has to toe the same line, it seems like. Nobody's entitled to have their own opinion that doesn't align to the most inoffensive position you can take on a subject. Like, traps traps gay. If you think they are gay, you can't say that because you're going to offend a whole bunch of people. Now, if you say that they aren't gay, then you're going to offend a bunch of people. You say that they shouldn't change the face of the $20 bill. You're going to offend a lot of people. If you say that you should change, you're going to offend a lot of people. And this goes on and on for any and any little thing that can crop up. This comes from transgender bathrooms to religious freedoms. I thought this country was based on personal freedom. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I thought the First Amendment provided you a means that so long as you are not intentionally, or should I say, as long as you're not causing physical harm to that person, then you're free to say whatever you want. You can say that you are freaking the flying spaghetti monster if you want to. You have people out here claiming that they're Jesus Christ. You have people out here claiming that they're the devil. And the most that can happen with somebody like saying that, you hurt somebody's sensibilities. You get somebody right in the feels. But is that enough to warrant a shutdown of their free speech, of censorship because it's an unpopular opinion, or it may offend a set of people? Pretty soon we're not even going to have stand-up comedians, man, because everything's going to be taboo. Being, you can't talk about obesity, sexual orientation. You can't talk about the freaking men and women at work. This quote-unquote gender pay gap, which has been debunked so many times, but people are quick to believe it because it's something that they know they can get a reaction to. It's something that they know they can get attention for. You know, everybody, or not everybody, but many people are afraid to think outside the box or take a stand off center. Everybody's afraid of retaliation, of people calling you a hate monger, a bigot. There's just certain things in life, back in the 90s and 80s, all of the same stuff dealing with now existed. But there was more important things to focus on, man. You know, we're only here for a short time on this earth. At most, if you're really lucky, after 90 to 100 years, you're going to be gone. You're not going to care what happens. What's important is that the general standard of living for those living in the country has risen. It is unfortunate that a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And, I do believe we have lost a lot of buying power, and that's due to inflation and losing a lot of jobs overseas. But people want to complain and they want to get higher wages. But then they don't understand that if they do that, employers are faced with decisions. It is no longer a segmented economy. We have a lot of trade deals going on. And when you can make the same shirt that you would have to your cost will be $10 here in the States, but you can make it for $3 in India. If you're the business owner, why aren't you going to go to India? It just makes sense financially. Now you can say you could be proud, made in the USA all you want, but if your competitors can outmatch you, because people are going to counterfeit your design, or they're going to make a copycat, or all these little wish stuff on your feed or Facebook or DHgate or Alibaba, within 6 months, whatever you put out there, it's going to get copied. So you only have a short time frame to really, really make your money, unless it blows up and like Supreme, where people are hunting for the authentic thing. But even then, you have a lot of counterfeit items. There's no longer clear-cut sense of black and white anymore. There's no right or wrong anymore. It's basically majority rules. You can no longer have these subsets that we used to have back in the 80s and 90s, or even earlier, where people were just naturally into their own thing. You know, you had your gothics, you had your bronies, you had your emos or whatever. But nowadays, you can't tell one apart from the other one. And if you say that you don't like goth music, then everybody says you're wrong. But then you say that you don't like rap, everybody thinks you're wrong. You think that people's gender is determined by whatever they were born with, you're wrong. I'm not saying any of these opinions are mine. I'm just saying that this world doesn't let you have an individual voice anymore. You have to conform to the mainstream if you want to remain relevant, uncensored, if you want to be heard. If you say anything that's controversial, you're getting put down to the bottom of the pile, man. And I've heard some weird stuff going on, because, everybody that watches my channel by now should know I'm a Lion King. And I've been hearing some funny things, like a tribe, which I shall not name, because I have yet to independently confirm this for myself. This is just heard secondhand, that there's actually a tribe or two that is letting in homosexual members into the fold. And many of you guys who know your constitution know how big of a taboo that is. But no. And I ain't afraid to say it, man. To quote John Wick, rules are what separate us from living like animals. You have to have a definitive line, a definitive barrier. You know, you can have your own opinion, you just can't take it to the extreme. Let's say you're homophobic, but that doesn't mean that at if you have to shake a gay or lesbians or whatever transgender's hand, they're gonna pop out some hand sanitizer and wash your hands. That's too much, man. You have to realize, people are out here. People have different beliefs, views, opinions on things. You can't take it to the extreme where, in certain situations, if it can't be avoided and you have to interact with these people, interact with them as a human being, on a human level. No need to call them out on whatever their beliefs are. Just do whatever transaction or whatever conversation needs to happen and move along. You ain't got to sit around the campfire and sing kumbaya with people who go against your way of thinking. All it is just respect the other person's thing. There's a way to come at people to not offend them. You know, but people get so tied up into making everything accepted that it's just insane. It's nonsense. We have terrorism going on around the world right now, and then everybody's all talking about Muslims and Islamophobia and stuff, and people don't realize that, and truly, this isn't to cause no controversy, but let's say there was a Muslim majority in the United States, and they enact the Sharia law. There ain't gonna be no freaking free speech. There ain't gonna be no gay pride parades. You think you're gonna see that kind of stuff happening in downtown Tikrit in Iraq? You got something else coming to you. And you might say, oh, that's just a small subset of radicals, but it's the radicals that are the problem. Those are the ones that do the damage. You're not worried about, all the spiders in the world, but if you see the big ass one, you're going to be worried about that one, aren't you? Daddy long legs, you can look at them all day. They don't bother you. But a freaking tarantula or huntsman scutters across your face, man, you ain't going to sleep till you kill that motherfucker. And being a veteran, having been in the army, I have my own biases. And I will not try to persuade people either one way or the other. I'm just stating the fact, man, we need to get to how we used to be, where things didn't, if somebody got offended, the next day they got over it because they don't have to talk to that person anymore. On Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, there's a thing called block. Anybody says something that you don't like, block them, man. But you don't have to advocate for mass censorship. Everybody's entitled to say whatever the hell they want. Nobody should be putting down anybody else for having their own opinion. This world has gotten too sensitive, especially in the United States. It has gotten too sensitive. And it hasn't really gotten us anywhere because all of this, everybody kumbaya. There's still school shootings and attacks and terrorism attacks and bombings going on. This ain't working either. Sometimes hard action is required. I pray for this country, for everybody to just do their own thing. Don't worry about anybody else. Just do you. In the end, that's what matters. ADR. This this is my little PS to this video. Uh, there are some universal things that should go without saying that should remain in place. The right and wrong of this world. Everybody should be teaching the kids and in school, do not kill, do not steal, it's bad to lie, to honor thy father, thy mother, to respect their elders, to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. We haven't lost that. You got kids out here today that say some things that if I even said the first syllable of that word, I would have got my mouth tapped by my mother. Other people got whoopings with the belts and cords and all this other stuff nowadays. You can't even spank your child, otherwise it's considered child abuse. And since they don't feel or they don't fear physical repercussions, these kids out here are doing and saying whatever they want. We have lost general decency for each other as human beings. You got people who are discriminating, like the Starbucks incident. Instead of taking color out of it, which shouldn't have to be, thrown as a fault to the company. I'm pretty sure Starbucks in their manual does not say, discriminate against black people. It all goes down to that personal employee's bias, their opinion. And if they do something like that, then okay, fire them, say they're no longer with the company and apologize. But when you got people suing Starbucks when they have hundreds of, tens of thousands of employees, you can't control everybody all the time. That's a tyranny right there. And we're getting there. We got Big Brother. You got cameras everywhere. Just look at Chicago. Look at New York. They got cameras. Recently read an article where the Chinese government was able to pick a wanted man out of a group of 10,000 concert goers because of a high-tech video camera that they had. That's how clear the picture was and the facial recognition technology they have. We shouldn't have to live in a world where our lives are like that movie They Live, which, by the way, if any of y'all have not seen that, I recommend that you guys go and see it. It's pretty good. You know, we lost our respect for our teachers who are underpaid and underrated. But there are people who care. Otherwise, they wouldn't be teachers, man. You think that they went to college thinking that they're going to make $100,000 as a teacher? They do it because they enjoy the process of learning. They enjoy teaching others knowledge. To seeing the look on people's faces when they finally get something, maybe they didn't understand it, but the third or fifth time it was explained to them, they get that light bulb turned on. And that's the satisfaction teachers get. You know, we lost